You sprung a big upset against the Canes on Saturday. And I'm wondering, where did Saturday rank for you in terms of career highlights?
I think that's got to be right at the top.
Really?
Yeah, it's got to be right at the top. I mean, to go and end the regular season beating a top 5 or top 10 team at home, I think they're number 6 when we beat them. It's pretty sweet. And I think just putting Syracuse back on the map, like that's, exactly what, we wanted to do. And I think that game just kind of exemplified everything that we've been working for this offseason.
Did your coach take a shower after the game?
Yeah, I think right after the game he got washed, put the winners get washed shirt on too. So, it was a good day.
Does he actually do that if he won't shower after a loss? Like he'll go multiple weeks if he has to without taking a shower?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, he told me it was right after our first loss of the season in September. And he told me that like a few days after the game. He was like, I don't know. He's like, I just get mad. And it's like, I don't deserve to take a shower. And I was like, Coach, it's kind of nasty. Like I wouldn't tell anybody that. And when he came out and said that, I was like, as soon as I saw the clip, I knew it was going to blow up.
Were you surprised that Miami didn't go for it on that 4th down late in the game?
I don't know. I mean, I see both sides of it. I mean, you have one play at the 10-yard line. But, I think hindsight, obviously, they probably wish they would have gone for it. But, if they were to stop us and get the ball back and score, then it looks like a great decision. But, I think, in the moment, I thought they were going to try to go for it. And then, if they didn't get it, obviously, we'd have the ball kind of backed up there on the 10.
So this is interesting. I'm wondering, when you went into the portal, did Miami express any sort of interest in you?
Not until late, because I remember Cam posted that video saying that he was going to go to the draft. And then they hit me up. It was kind of late in the process because they were all in on him from the start. But I was already signed to Syracuse, so it was just a quick conversation. That was it.
Was that something you used as like any sort of motivation? I know athletes are always looking for some sort of motivation, a chip on their shoulder. The fact that the Canes weren't interested in you, was that any sort of motivation? And you had Ohio State losing. It was a hell of a day for you, Kyle. It really was. But was that any sort of motivation for you in the week leading up to the Miami game?
I wouldn't say just Miami in general. I thought, when I got in the portal, you would hear from, all the big schools that needed a quarterback, and that wasn't the case. And then, it was really only a handful of schools that were serious about me going there. And so I used that as motivation. But I wouldn't say it was Miami in specific, because obviously they made a great decision out of the portal too. So, I think it was just a combination of, a lack of schools that I thought would hit me up that didn't.
All right, try not to give me the politically correct answer to this, okay? Because it's okay. You're a human being, Kyle. Was there any part of you that felt good as you realized, because Ryan Day told you, hey, I can't guarantee you a starting spot. So you took your game to Syracuse. You had a great season. You're the leading passer in college football. Was there any part of you that took, I don't know, that you were kind of happy that Ohio State lost to Michigan?
I mean, I think there's obviously that, like I was just talking about, just sense of motivation after the way everything ended last year. Felt like I had unfinished business there and didn't get a chance to go back and kind of right some of my wrongs. So definitely use that as motivation. And, and they lost me. And I said in the post-game interview, everything comes full circle. And, I think that Saturday just kind of exemplified all of that. Obviously a big win for us. And then, I think everybody, I know Coach France said it the other day, like everybody was trying to make it seem like I was, the problem there. And, I think, you see the results, and I don't think you can say that now. So I just think a combination of all that, and on top of that, just the extra source of motivation.
Kyle, how different is the portal experience to being recruited out of high school?
It's like recruiting on steroids, because especially for a quarterback, high school, you have, 2 years to get recruited, and, you have to make a decision by your senior year. But when you're in the portal, it's, you got a week and a half, 2 weeks to make a decision. And so everything is sped up. I've known guys who have committed to places they've never even been, and that, necessarily never happens in high school. So it's just everything is sped up, and especially for a quarterback, you almost have to reserve your spot because most schools are only taking one. So it was wild. It was a wild time, but, obviously glad everything worked out, me ending up here.
I read that you had committed to Ohio State in your sophomore year of high school. Do you think that's too early to be making such a big decision? Or at this point with the portal, is it like, if I don't like it, I could just change?
Yeah, for a quarterback, I think, when a school gives you a green light to commit, it's obviously, an enticing opportunity. And especially at a school like Ohio State, when they told me they wanted me to commit and help build the class, I think that is important. But at the same time, I think you can't rush it. And to me, I don't feel like I rushed the process. I got recruited early out of high school. And to be honest, when I was a sophomore, I was, kind of done with it, like going on visits and talking to schools and all that. So I went ahead and pulled the trigger. But I think you just, everybody's timeline is different, and you just have to take your time and make sure that you're not rushing into a decision, and for some people that's committing sophomore year, and then for others that's, committing the last day, senior year on signing day.
I know you were busy kicking Miami's ass, but I am wondering here, what'd you make of what happened after the Ohio State-Michigan game?
And being in it for 3 years, there's a genuine level of hate between both teams. And, obviously, the emotions are high in that game. But, I think, when you lose, every year that I was there, you had to deal with it. Like, they would rush the field when we lost at Michigan. And then my sophomore year, when they beat us at home, they did the same thing, plant the flag. And, it's tough. But I think at the end of the day, if you really want to make a difference on it, you got to do it in between the white lines. And, I think that, obviously guys are prideful, and, I get that part of it. But, I see both sides. But that's just I think that's a perfect kind of image of, how much those teams hate each other, regardless of the records and all that.
Kyle, it's interesting because I think one of the positive things with all the rule changes in college football is the fact that a quarterback like yourself who goes to Ohio State and would probably rule out Syracuse as an option. Now, after a couple of years at Ohio State, you can go to a school like Syracuse. There are more quarterbacks at more schools that don't traditionally have great quarterbacks, and I think that's a good thing. Syracuse hasn't had a great quarterback since like the late 90s, and you broke every record. And so I think that's one of the positives of all the new rule changes. Do you agree that you have more teams that have a better shot because they have better quarterbacks, and quarterbacks they wouldn't normally get through recruiting?
100%. I think that, it's kind of becoming a little bit of a trend. I think, all the top high school guys are going to go to the big schools, and some of them are going to play there, and then some of them aren't. And then when those guys go to transfer, they go to, a smaller school or, not necessarily a blue chip program, and they're able to compete. And I think that's exactly what happened here. I mean, there's a lot of great talent around me. And Coach France said it. He was like, we're a quarterback away from being a serious contender. And I think obviously, that's true. And just like you said, looking across college football, I think at the quarterback position and then really at every position, the talent level is a lot more spread out. Yeah. Because of NIL, because of the transfer portal. So, in result, the playing field is a lot more even, and that's why I think there's not been, that group of dominant teams like there always are, across the top of college football.
So you're coming off one of your biggest wins. You eliminated Miami from the playoffs, essentially. A team that maybe slighted you, maybe didn't slight you. Now, when do you focus on the draft? Like, because you have a bowl game coming up. Is that something that you focus on after the bowl game, or like? Not to put you in a difficult spot, but do you say, you know what, maybe the bowl game isn't the right decision. Let me focus on the draft, not risk injury, anything like that. Where's your head at with all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I already got it all set up to where I'll start all that draft prep after the bowl game, the beginning of January. So I'll be with the team all the way through the bowl game. I haven't quite made a decision. I know a lot of guys are still on the fence, got to see where we play and all that. But I think, obviously it's, a lifelong dream to, get ready for the NFL draft, but, it's a grind. So I'm just trying to enjoy my last month in college, my last few weeks with the guys, and then, move on and get ready for that.
Kyle, try to extend it as much as you can. I'm telling you, see if we can find an extra year in there somewhere, a COVID year, a redshirt year, something. Extend college as long as you can. Yes, you could be a first-round draft pick, but also that can wait a year. You're not going to get college back. You do not want to get out of college because that's when the real world starts, Yeah,
I know. I mean, I've definitely tried to enjoy every moment this year. I mean, it's flew by, but it's been a lot of fun here. So, trust me, if I could, I would. So, yeah, we'll see.
Kyle, do you think it's fair that Ryan Day is basically judged on one game per year, not on the body of work, just one game per year?
I mean, that's how it is there.
Really?
I remember when I first got there, like some of the fans were saying to me, it doesn't matter if we lose every single game. If we beat Michigan, it's a solid year. And, that's like a crazy thing to say, but, it's true up there. I think obviously Michigan's a good team, and I think this is kind of the best stretch they've had in a long time. But, I think that's, just part of the job responsibility to beat them.